what would you say to someone who feels kind of assaulted by the social media? They're overwhelmed with Corona, all the political stuff that's going on right now, and it, is leaving people, like you mentioned earlier, like feeling alone, feeling kind of abandoned, and how it could lead them to, being stuck at home with your family. There's a lot of buttons there, there's a lot of overwhelm there, and there's a lot of bickering and things that can happen as well. And so you can kind of go into yourself and get depressed, and then some of these things can kick off, like binging or starving or whatever it is. So is there kind of just an overall message that you would give to people if they're starting to feel that they're like falling into that?
Yeah. Again, everything is really valid. I think that that's really important. And sometimes that's one of the biggest things I do as a life coach is listen. Sometimes we just need to feel heard. We need to feel understood. We need to feel validated. LUV. Listened, listened to, understood, validated. Love. We need to feel loved. Also from there, I personally, I know there's a lot going on politically. I know there's a lot going on with, I know it, but I want you to, and I know it can be good to be informed. At the same time, I would highly recommend you turn it off. Again, where you're putting your energy, that's what you're going to see more of. We have this thing in our brain called the reticular activating system, so the RAS. And it's like whenever you buy a car and then you see that car everywhere, it's not that that car wasn't always there. It's just that we have billions of information, bits of information coming at us all the time. And the only way that we can function is by our brain prioritizing what's actually important to us. And so the more that you focus on these things, the more you're going to see of it. And so it's the same thing for me when I'm focusing on all the things I'm grateful for, all the things I'm appreciating, all the things that are actually really going well in my life. If I keep putting that out there and tell my brain that's what I want to keep seeing more of, that's what I'm going to keep seeing more of. And again, it's an echo chamber. It's so serious when I talk about curating your social media or just getting off of it for a little bit, taking a little break, but be conscious. If there is something that is bringing you down, not making you feel good, unfollow it, unsubscribe. There's no reason for you to take on and consume that information if it's pulling you down. And honestly, I haven't watched the news in ages. Somehow I'm still functioning and I kind of know what's going on in the world. People will let you know. So if it's pulling you down, your health and your mental well-being is worth far more. And as far as staying in the house and because that is a big one. If you're not feeling safe in your own home, that's an environment, right? So I would encourage you, are there ways that you can find safe spaces? Can you find a safe space in your car? Can you find a safe space going for a walk? Do you have a place in your room? Something that is going to be grounding. Finding times to journal it, actually write it out is so healing. Find someone to talk to who will listen. And I really am a huge person for stoicism. So if you ever want to read up on stoicism, or Ryan Holiday has some stuff, or Tim Ferriss talks about it too, but it is this idea that you can have these feelings, but you really get to choose how you react. I think Viktor Frankl talks about it in Man's Search for Meaning, and he was a psychologist who had survived Auschwitz, and how at the end of the day, the one thing that no one can take from you is how you choose to react to something. And I know how hard that can feel. I used to struggle with anxiety. I was this person, I was on anti-anxiety meds, Ativan. There was a time I was on a plane and I ended up having to be put in an ambulance on the tarmac because I was having a panic attack. and I couldn't function, and I was having all these physical manifestations of stress. I understand how overwhelming and how big it can feel. But the more that you can understand that you do have control over your reactions, that you get to choose how you want to feel, it's slow, but the more you practice that and understand that, the stronger you get.